Today, we are diving into the incredible origin story of a truly American art form. We're talking about a sound that completely changed the world. We're talking about jazz.
Have you ever really thought about that? The answer is huge. It's powerful, and it travels across oceans and through centuries. And a huge piece of that puzzle is found right here in the history of jazz.
So, to really get to the bottom of where jazz comes from, we've got to go back in time, way back. See, this story doesn't kick off in some fancy concert hall. Nope. It starts with a heartbeat that crossed the entire Atlantic Ocean. The story of jazz really begins in West Africa. Music there wasn't just for special occasions, it was woven into the very fabric of daily life. I'm talking about these incredibly complex layered drum beats, and they had this amazing style called call and response, where a leader sings or plays a line and then the whole group answers back. These traditions, they were carried over not in books, but in memory, and that became the absolute foundation for a brand new kind of music. So when these powerful African traditions arrived in America, something incredible started to happen. They began to collide and mix with European musical instruments, things like trumpets and pianos, and totally different ways of structuring songs. It was like this amazing chemical reaction. And out of that mix, something completely new was starting to take shape. But this blend of sounds, it needed a voice. It needed an emotion to really bring it to life. And that voice, it grew directly out of the African-American experience. It became the way to tell these incredibly powerful stories of both struggle and hope. Two major styles really came out of this. First, you had work songs. These literally provided the rhythm for backbreaking labor, helping everyone stay in sync. Then you had spirituals. These combined those African melodies with Christian themes, but they often had these hidden messages about freedom and hope. Music wasn't just entertainment, it became a tool for survival, a way to express what couldn't be said out loud. And then came the blues. You gotta understand, the blues isn't just a style of music. It's a feeling you can actually hear. It's all about telling personal stories of struggle, heartbreak, but also of resilience. This is what gave jazz its deep, deep emotional core. So what gives the blues that specific sound, that bluesy sound? Well, a huge part of it is something called blue notes. Basically, these are notes that are played or sung at a slightly lower pitch than you'd find on a standard piano. It's that little bend in the note that creates that soulful, kind of sad sound that just hits you right in the... Okay, but jazz isn't all about sadness, not at all. At the exact same time, there was this other, super exciting piano music that was taking over everything. It was called ragtime, and it was upbeat, it was complex, and it was full of this energy that just made people want to get up and dance. The secret sauce behind ragtime is a cool rhythmic trick called syncopation. Here's what that means. Instead of playing the melody right on the main steady beat, 1, 2, 3, 4, you play notes in between the beats. It emphasizes the offbeats. This creates a ragged, or kind of jumpy, rhythm that sounded totally fresh and exciting, and it really set the stage for the jazz explosion that was about to happen. All right, let's recap. We've got these deep African rhythms, we've got the soul of the blues, and we've got the jumpy energy of ragtime. So where did all these amazing ingredients finally get mixed together into one pot? There's one city that gets the credit: New Orleans. See, New Orleans was totally unique. It was a massive cultural melting pot. Because it was a huge port city, you had people from African, French, Spanish, and Caribbean backgrounds all living together. And all of their different musical traditions started blending in the streets, from brass bands and funeral parades to the music at lively neighborhood parties. It was just the perfect recipe for something brand new to be born. And in this incredible mix of sounds and cultures, the musicians added one last game-changing ingredient. This is the thing that would truly define jazz forever. We're talking about improvisation. So what is improvisation? It's basically the art of making up music right there on the spot. But hold on, it's not just random noise. The musicians are listening intently to each other, building off each other's ideas, all while staying inside the song's basic structure. It means that every single performance is a one-of-a-kind event. It's what allows a musician's own personality, their own feelings, to shine through every single note. Okay, so from the streets of New Orleans, this brand new sound was ready to take over. Jazz wasn't going to stay a local secret for long. It was about to become the soundtrack for a new, modern America.
And this musical explosion was led by some absolute giants. You had Louis Armstrong, a total genius on the trumpet with a super grovelly voice, who became jazz's first global superstar. Then there was Jelly Roll Morton, a masterful pianist, who actually claimed he invented jazz. And you can't forget the brilliant Duke Ellington, an elegant bandleader who proved that jazz wasn't just party music. It could be complex, beautiful art.
Now, this music didn't just stay put in New Orleans. It spread across the country, was supercharged by something called the Great Migration. This was when millions of African Americans moved from the South to northern cities, looking for better opportunities. And guess what they brought with them? They brought jazz. Pretty soon, jazz clubs were popping up all over Chicago and New York. And by the 1920s, boom, the jazz age was in full swing.
And listen, this was about way more than just music. The jazz age changed everything. It influenced fashion, the way people talked, new dances, it was energetic, it was a little rebellious, and for the very first time, an art form created by African Americans became the most popular style in the entire country, which started to help break down some serious social barriers.
So where does that leave us today? I mean, jazz didn't just stop in the 1920s, right? Of course not. It kept evolving, and its legacy, well, it's pretty much all around us.
Think about it. The DNA of jazz, its rhythms, that soulful feeling, that spirit of making things up on the spot, it's buried inside almost every type of popular music we listen to today. From rock and roll and R&B all the way to hip-hop and pop, you can totally hear the echoes of those early jazz pioneers.
Ultimately, jazz grew to become this incredible global language. It's more than music. It's a powerful symbol of freedom, of creative expression, and of the ability of people from totally different backgrounds to come together, to really listen to one another and create something beautiful out of thin air. So, in the end, jazz isn't just a history lesson. It's a living, breathing story about creating something brand new out of struggle. It's about finding your own voice and about the freedom to express yourself. It really is the sound of freedom. And that just leaves one big question. What will you create with yours?